Okay, I hope this will be the last video and it'll get us up to date. And the topic for this is pattern recognition. Okay, the definition that Driscoll gives is it is the process where environmental stimuli are recognized, key word there, as exemplars or major examples of concepts and principles that you already have in your memory. So when you see things visually, how do you recognize them as patterns? There's several different theories about this. One of them is called template matching, and this idea says that you have an exemplar or a template already stored somewhere in your long-term memory, and when your sensory memory tunes in or pays attention, it's matched with a template in your long-term memory. Now, a problem with this is, look at all these letters. All of them are A, and you recognize them quickly as A, even though they're quite different. Different font, different sizes, different thickness of line. Some of them are a lowercase a, some of them are an uppercase A. And according to template matching theory, that would mean that you basically have to have a copy or a template of each one of these. You'd have to account for different size, different line thickness, different font styles, and that's a very cumbersome model, so this theory is not very popular. The second theory would be prototype theory. And this says that basically what you have in your memory is not the exact copy, but kind of a very general prototype of whatever phenomena it is. And it's general enough that when you see a specific example of it, like this or this, that you're able to match it quickly, because what you have is not a specific size or line thickness or type of font, but just a generalized notion of A. Okay? Another is feature analysis. This theory basically says that what you have for your definition of a phenomena, such as A, is you have a definition that consists of a list of features. And what you do is these features kind of match up with the phenomena that you're sensing in your sensory memory, and you find a match and recognize it. Now, both of these are useful, and they can account for a lot of instances of pattern recognition. But sometimes they fail to take account of things. For example, let's say that you see something, maybe an old newspaper or something that's been torn or ripped or faded. Your homework got in your pocket and washed in the washing machine. Somehow you're still able to look at it and make out letters, even if partial lines or letters or something's missing. You're able to make it out into a whole and figure out what it says. Well, these theories can't really account for that. For example, if some of the features are missing, how can you tell what the letters or the words are? If you have a list of features and 2 of the 6 features that are necessary to define this are missing or illegible, unreadable, how do you identify it? For that, we have to rely on some other theories, and this takes us back to the Gestalt. If you remember Gestalt, we talked about that in chapter 1. Gestalt principles basically say that learners go beyond the information that's given. They go beyond the data and somehow fill in the gaps to make a meaningful interpretation. And this is very much a top-down view of processing. Okay, you're using information from your long-term memory and your experience to kind of fill in the gaps. And for example, this, you would probably identify this as the letter A. Well, technically, it doesn't fit all the features of the letter A. The letter A is generally a line that goes up to make an arch with a connecting bridge. Really what we have here is a series of dots. And there's space in between them here. It's not a line technically, but they do line up, even though there's a gap in between through the principle of closure, we're able to fill in the gaps there and recognize this as an A. For this item right here, we would all say, as someone did in class rather quickly, it's 3 sets of 3 dots. We don't say it's 9 dots. We say it's 3 sets of 3. And we do that because of the principle of proximity. These 3 are very close together, so we recognize them as a set, and likewise with these here. The third item here, when we look at this, perceptually, we recognize the pattern of an X. That's because of the principle of similarity. All these dots are black and similar, and so we see the pattern of X. Now, some people might look and see 4 triangles. Good for them. But basically, most people will notice right away the X, the dark. And that's the principle of similarity. Now, there are other things that can affect pattern recognition. One would be organization, how things are organized, and basically that's what the Gestalt principles are. They're examples of organization: closure, proximity, and similarity. Context would be another one. If we go back to the piece of paper that was torn or ripped or washed accidentally in your jeans, and some of the letters or words are missing, you're still able, because of the words that you can see, because of the letters that you can make out, the context, you're able to fit that in and fill in the missing information. Experience is another one. Past experience, prior learning always helps you to fill in the gaps on things. And one particular example of this is called the Stroop effect. And we're going to talk about that in the next video because I went a little bit long.